We're starting a little bit late. Good evening, everyone. This is Commissioner Raymond Baldwin, Trumbull Police Department, Trumbull Police Commission, rather. We're beginning our meeting a little bit late. We apologize. We had a pension board meeting that ran over a bit. So I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can we read the roll call, please?
Chairman Baldwin,
Here.
Commissioner Magliocco, Commissioner Treves,
Here.
Commissioner Vazano,
Here.
Commissioner Zamri. All right, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vivian.
Next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. Can we do the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And can we pause for a moment of silence for deceased police officers and first responders? Thank you all. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Bill, is anybody waiting to make a comment?
Sure. If there's any member of the public who would like to speak at this time, press the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen. If you're on the phone, please press *9. Mr. Chairman, doesn't look like anybody's wishing to speak at this time.
Okay, thank you, Bill. We'll close public comment at this time. Next item on the agenda is approval of the October 13th, 2020 Police Commission meeting minutes. So we have a motion.
I'll make the motion.
We have a second.
I'll second the motion.
Is there any discussion about the minutes of that meeting? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, no abstentions. The motion carries. Thank you. All right, item 5, we're going to turn it over to the chief now, correspondence, and then the chief's report.
Good evening. The first form of correspondence you'll see is there are some photographs here of myself, Officer Soda, Officer Federowicz, Sergeant Catino, who were all awarded life-saving awards from EMS coordinator of the Bridgeport Hospital recently for they went to a heart attack call, turned out to be a cardiac arrest of a 36-year-old. They shocked the person with the AED. They performed CPR, and I'm happy to report that 8 days later, the gentleman left the hospital on his own accord. Great work, rapid response by all 3 officers, and a coordinated effort between our officers who got there first and the EMS personnel. And without such a quick response and the work that they did, could have turned out to be much different situations. So I applaud all 3 officers.
Well done. Very good.
Yeah, very good. It was great. The next letter is communication between myself and Commissioner Labella former Commissioner Labella, who works for the Center for Family Justice. And it was just a letter thanking us for our support and efforts for awareness and for the Domestic Violence Month, which was the month of October. And it was a letter of thanks for us. Next letter is it's a card we received from a resident who suffered a seizure and sent a nice letter to the officers, to the department that responded. If you don't know, we have what's called we have these stuffed animals that are teddy bears and different animals that when there are traumatic situations that a child may go through, whether it's a medical call or some type of other trauma, the officers have them in the car and they're very comforting to the young children who they give them to. And as you can see in his note, he mentions that he loves his new teddy bear. So we wish him well in the future.
That's great.
Yeah, it was real good, real good. It's just a little extra touch that they are able to give to people in the community. The next letter is something on behalf of a resident. We did a funeral escort and she just wanted to thank us for the escort. Officer Leo Skoog and Siljamaki assisted with the escort, funeral escort. Next letter we have is from the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, the Police Officer Standards Training Council, which has oversight of all the police agencies in the state. It's a letter from the Police Academy Administrator, who said that an audit was conducted of our standards and practices, which is in compliance with Public Act 18-161. And we had the compliance review, and we are met or have higher level of accreditation through this council. And it's something just to show that we're in compliance with the standards that Post puts in place. So again, it's another feather in a cap for our training and the members of the department, that we're staying on top of the training and that we're ahead of the curve.
Excellent.
The next is some messages we found on our Facebook page, just thanking Officer Scott Duva, who had gone to some of the community daycare centers in town. And this one here is just a thank you for him. It was Community Helpers Week, and Officer Duva went to some of the daycares in Trumbull and presented to them. You'll see in the next page where there's pictures of him sitting with some of the students that are in the classroom, some of the children. And it was a good time for them to get to know him at a very young age and get to see how an officer acts and conducts themselves, and gets them in tune with what we do and what we're about. And the last two pages is something from a family, and you'll see a picture of a youngster there about 4 years old with a junior police badge on his chest, and just thanking us for the work we do as family. We're very happy with it. We gave him a plastic badge to kind of make him a junior police officer for a day. And it's just another one of those community-related work that we do out there to have people recognize that the officers are here for a lot of different reasons, not just for when they're on a call. If we jump to calls for services, you'll see there were 1,835 calls for the month of October, compared with about just over 1,900 last month, September. So we're still in the ballpark of the work that the officers are doing. There were 81 traffic-related events during the month of October. We're still working to get the officers out and make more contacts with motorists. So we're working on that. The traffic division does some of that also.
Just
The
one question. I know September, we had a big jump, about 228 more cases than September of 2019. Any explanation for that?
Are you talking about the cases or the motor vehicle stops?
What about the calls for service?
I have it just under 100 more. Are you talking about from the prior year or September?
Yeah, compared to the prior year.
Yeah, well, I still attribute some of this to COVID, where we don't have as much activity in some of our business districts and our retail districts in particular as we
No,
did a year
It
ago.
actually went up 228.
Well, last October, I see 2020.
No, I'm talking about September. It went from 1,700 in 2019 to 1,928.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. It went up in that month of September, you're right, but down for October
Yeah,
from 2020 to 1835.
okay. I didn't know whether we had a program going or something like that, so, okay. All right, continue.
Okay. Our shoplifting, motor vehicle thefts, burglaries, motor vehicle thefts from cars, we had 77 this past month, which was really actually half of what we had the month before. We're still seeing the thefts from the cars, although much less than the month of September. We had 18 in the month of October reported to us and 44 in September. So there's a big drop there. I really don't know what to attribute that to. I know the midnight shift has been made a concerted effort to be highly visible and stop a lot of vehicles and be a big presence out there. It could have to do with something to do with that. even the motor vehicle thefts, we had 3 in October, 7 in September. So that's down also. And I hope that that trend continues. And, some of it might be that maybe, again, I say it every month, lock your cars, take your valuables out of your car, don't leave your keys in your cars. And maybe, by us pushing that out as much as we have, it's working. Alarms, there were 113 in the month of October for 2020 compared to 103 the prior month. The next 3 pages are over 1,800 calls that we had, all the various different types of calls that the officers may encounter throughout the month, from whatever it might be, property missing, towed cars, anything that they do is listed in that graph. And then the 2 canine reports, you'll see Officer Lee with Canine Bane hit their activity for the month of October. They did some tracking for a burglary suspect who had been involved in a carjacking in town. They did some evidence recovery for a gun that the Detective Bureau was looking for. They assisted Bridgeport in some tracking, and then they attended their training for the month. Officer Carlson is the next page with K9 Rico involved in some tracks for a domestic suspect who fled through a home, and they located the person not far from his home, conducted a narcotics search of a home, and another tracking, and then the training that they do throughout the month. The next 4 pages are the adult arrests that they made. They made 26 adult arrests in the month of October. These would be for anything disorderly conduct, larcenies, interfering with calls, domestic calls, assaults, whatever they may come in contact with and have to make an arrest for. Traffic report, you'll see the underlying there, please read it lying out. The patrol supervisors read this to the officers so they can concentrate on some of the trouble areas and patrol and conduct traffic in these particular areas. And then the next page are the traffic complaints for the traffic division. They handled 52 cases in the month of October. Some of them were motor vehicle complaints. They had 23 traffic stops, funeral escort, 5 car seat installations, and the moving of our speed trailers throughout the town. As you know, we have generally have always had 2 officers that are in the traffic division. But for some time now, about a year, we've had just 1, that's Officer Sil Jamaki. We have some shortages in the patrol division, and until we get some people hired and in patrol, we're working with just 1 person in traffic at this time. The next page is about the DUI distractive grant activity. We did not conduct any for October because of the COVID virus. We didn't apply for the grant. Then we move on to the detective division monthly report. They have 50 open cases. They brought in 20 cases in the month of October, several cars that were stolen, 2 burglaries, a drug investigation, several larcenies, and some other types of investigations that they're working on. And then the next few pages are kind of a breakdown, a thumbnail of the multitude of cases that they're working on. If there's anything here that you'd like me to highlight, I'd be happy to. But I would like to bring to the commission's attention, we had Lieutenant Weir meet with officers from Shelton, Fairfield, Westport, and Wilton, along with News 12, because we wanted to highlight and get some more coverage for locking cars. You know, it's something we've talked about for a long time. So we actually held a press conference with those departments and spoke to News 12, explaining the kind of the downside of leaving your car unlocked and leaving your keys in the car. So he did that. We tried to push it out in a different media, and we do it in print, we do it on Facebook. This was something face-to-face. And then some of the cases that they handle throughout the month and the breakdown on those cases.
Chief, my compliments on you for your communication for the unlocked cars. You've been consistent and persistent, and it's amazing how people still don't lock their cars and leave valuables and leave computers and briefcases and everything in their car, but keep it up, because overall, in the long term, it's going to work if you keep talking about it. But
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's why we saw it decline a little bit this past month.
Mhm.
Next few pages are the school resource officer reports. The first one is Officer Wes Bartosik, who is primarily assigned to Madison Middle School. You'll see the types of cases that he handled, and then his other meetings he attended, the different types of drills now that school's back in session, the health classes that he's taught, and crisis committee he's a part of, and he's involved with T-Board as well. The next page is Officer Duva. Officer Duva is assigned to the high school. Lists, kind of a breakdown of a handful of cases that he handled and his training and the classes that he's attended. He's helped instruct the new 2 officers that we have in the recruit training that have about a month and a half left in training before they can actually start working the road with our field training officer. But Officer Duva has worked with the staff at St. Joseph's High School as well. And some of the other schools, wherever he's needed or wherever any of them are needed, they'll go and they'll move to, and they'll be fluid in helping out the other SROs and the other schools. Officer Fedorowicz, who is, this is his first year as a school resource officer. He is assigned to Hillcrest, and this is kind of a breakdown of some of the things he did. He spent about 2 weeks in training for firearms qualifications and to become a firearms instructor. So he was not at the school for the entire month. So Officer Bartosik and Duva would cover a lot of what he would have done there while he was in training. The training division report, you'll see all the different training everybody went to throughout the month of October. What I would like to kind of highlight here is peer support training was something that EMS did for our peer support officers, and they specifically addressed autism and dealing with people who have autism, and how important it is for us to recognize someone who may be autistic, and when we have those calls, which we have plenty of them, how to nurture and how to comfort the person, things to do and not do, questions to ask. And it's important that we really address our special needs population. Every police department should do that. And it's something that we really spend a lot of time on, and we do a lot of training of our officers, and it's important to all of us. And then we have some other training here. We've begun sending our lieutenants, our mid-management people, to mid-level management training. We had sent Lieutenant Lopes quite a few months ago to a Penn State training class for leadership and command. And with COVID and everything, that kind of got shut down, but those types of classes are starting again. We sent Lieutenant Weir to a mid-management training program for a week in Massachusetts, and Lieutenant Falkenstein took the Penn State training for mid-management online for a week. So we really want to, a lot of the training we do is trying to get our people who are whatever position they're in for the next steps in their careers, and trying to build our bench, if you will, for moving people forward for the future of the department. And the mid-management training is something that Assistant Chief Burns has really done a lot of research on, and found some really good training for our people to go to. And it seems to be working out very well. The next page is the cadet training. And basically they just had planning meetings with the cadets in the month of October. Officer Fedor handled those. If we move on to our monthly sick report, you'll see at this point, we have an average of 6 sick days per officer throughout the department. Yeah, it's below the national average.
The number did jump though from
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah, we have some officers this month that were out on some long-term chronic injuries. One with, I believe, a knee injury, another with a shoulder surgery was required. So when they're out for long term like that, it really pushes the average up.
Yeah,
That's
okay,
what happened.
that's right. Okay,
And if you look at the next page, it's the budget. It's a spreadsheet on the budget that the assistant chief provides me. And we are about 35% through the year. We've spent about 36% of our budget. Part of that is our largest line item, which is at the top, the full-time salary. So when we budgeted last December for the current fiscal year we're in now, we did not know what the pay raises would have been retroactive to July of 19 or this July of 2020. So we weren't able to budget for that. So that's 4.25% was not budgeted in, but the officers get that. So they settled the contract. Once they settled the contract, they got the retroactive pay, which came out of our salary line, and then they got their pay increases. But that was an unknown number to us, so we weren't able to budget for it. That's why that line is over.
So it's 4.25 for 2019?
No, it was 2% for 2019, July 1st, and then 2.25 this past July. So between
that's
the
the
two,
four.
it was 2 years of raises we weren't able to budget for because we didn't know what they were. So that's why that account's taking a bit of a hit right now. And then when someone retires, like Officer Targowski retired recently, he if he has any time in the bank, vacation time and so forth that he would get paid for, it comes out of that line also.
Thank you.
The overtime account, I mean, I always talk about this. We're doing really good there. We spent 26% of the overtime line so far this year. So naturally, we're under that considerably. We do have a lot of people, I can tell the commission, with a significant amount of vacation time that was not taken in the last 6 or 7 months because a lot of people were not going on vacation. So we're going to have to deal with that at some point in time. So overall, we are under by 1% year to date, which is real good. And that's all I have. If the commission has any questions.
any questions of the chief?
Oh, well done on the budget as far
Yeah,
as
well,
labor, and hopefully you
really-
can, keep managing that throughout the end of the year. The vacations will catch up to you, but
Yeah,
we're getting there. It's November.
Let me
Right.
ask you a question. How many days can officers carry over to the following year?
so contractually, they can carry 6 days over. And then there are some officers that do ask to take more time and carry it over, and I can allow it, but they have to use it by April 1st.
April 1st?
Yeah.
So you're expecting a big request in December?
We put a notice out about a month ago reminding everybody that it's not a guarantee that time is carried over. Just kind of reminding them, if you want to, you run the risk of losing it if I don't grant it. So please start taking it if you have it in the bank. And there are some officers with a lot of time, and I can't allow all of that to be carried over.
Sure.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much for your report, chief. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing under old business and there's nothing under new business, so we have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll
Okay,
second.
okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Good evening, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good night,
Bill.
all.
Sure thing. Have a good night.